from Lord Ali's flat that was made to look like Keir Starmer's own property, that was a lie. This is actually kind of one of the most dangerous stories for a government or political party, because it's really quite easily understood.
And that is, for me, possibly the worst and most damaging aspect of this.
Isabel Oakeshott just dropped a bombshell on live TV. She exposed a shocking secret about Keir Starmer that's left the nation reeling. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. But what exactly did she reveal? And why is it causing such an uproar? In the next few minutes, we'll unpack this explosive story and its far-reaching consequences. Keir Starmer's rise to power was nothing short of meteoric. In April 2020, he clinched the Labour leadership with a landslide victory, securing 56.2% of the vote. This wasn't just a win, it was a mandate. But who was this man stepping into the spotlight? Before entering politics, Starmer had built an impressive career in law.
Not only did Keir Starmer film various messages to the public pretending he was at home.
People hate that stuff, and they also recall that the last bunch that were the recipients of this kind of lie.
He actually filmed his tribute to the Queen after she died in the same penthouse. I mean, this is unbelievable to me.
As a successful barrister, he'd taken on high-profile human rights cases and later served as the director of public prosecutions. His reputation for competence and integrity preceded him, raising hopes that he could restore Labour's credibility after years in the wilderness. Yet leading the Labour Party proved to be a different beast entirely. Starmer inherited a deeply divided party, still reeling from its worst electoral defeat since 1935. The public's expectations were sky-high, but the challenges were equally daunting. How would he unite the warring factions within Labour while also appealing to the broader electorate? In his early days as leader, Starmer laid out an ambitious vision. He promised to root out anti-Semitism within the party, provide effective opposition to the government, and offer a credible alternative to the Conservatives. His calm, forensic approach in Parliament initially won plaudits, with many seeing him as a potential Prime Minister in waiting.
Well, quite clearly, is a bunch of adolescents who haven't got a clue what they're doing, least of all the man at the top of this.
Him, it seems he's played his hand quite well, spraying money and favours around the very top of this government. Called politicians having a great time, and I tell you what else they hate. They hate the lies.
The polls seem to reflect this optimism. By June 2020, Labour had closed the gap with the Conservatives, even overtaking them in some surveys. A YouGov poll showed Starmer with a net approval rating of +27 compared to Boris Johnson's 7. The public appeared to be warming to this new, more moderate face of Labour. However, beneath the surface, trouble was brewing. Some in the party's left wing accused Starmer of abandoning Corbyn-era policies, while others questioned his ability to connect with working-class voters. His first major policy announcements, focusing on economic recovery and social care reform, received mixed reactions. While praised for their pragmatism, some critics found them lacking in bold vision. As Starmer stepped further into the spotlight, shadows from his past began to loom.
And it's quite obvious to me that there have been lies and that there are still lies.
So are they going to mention the fact that Keir Starmer is under the cosh here, that, you know, Lord Ali and the revelations coming out of the penthouse?
So in itself, that setup of the message during lockdown.
Questions about his time as Director of Public Prosecutions and his stance on key issues during the Brexit debates started to resurface. The honeymoon period was coming to an end, and the real test of Starmer's leadership was about to begin. While Starmer grappled with his party's past, a more immediate crisis was brewing. How could a single budget cut become a matter of life and death for Britain's elderly? The decision that followed would shake public trust to its core. As Keir Starmer attempted to steer Labour towards a more centrist position, tensions within the party began to simmer. His approach, aimed at appealing to a broader electorate, started to clash with traditional Labour values. This divide became glaringly apparent when Starmer's winter budget cuts hit the headlines. Isabel Oakeshott, known for her sharp critiques, didn't mince words. She labelled these cuts a death sentence for elderly citizens, arguing that they left vulnerable populations without adequate heating during harsh winter months. The public's reaction was swift and furious. Social media erupted with stories of pensioners struggling to keep warm, while local councils reported increased demand for emergency services. Within the Labour Party, dissent grew louder. Long-time members accused Starmer of abandoning the party's core principles. One prominent MP was overheard saying, "We've become the party of scandal and deceit." This internal strife didn't go unnoticed by the public. Polls showed a sharp decline in trust, with Labour's approval ratings plummeting. But the winter budget controversy was just the tip of the iceberg. Whispers of more serious allegations began to circulate in Westminster.
From Lord Ali's flat that was made to look like Keir Starmer's own property, that was a lie. This is actually kind of one of the most dangerous stories for a government or political party because it's really quite easily understood.
And that is, for me, possibly the worst and most damaging aspect of this.
Journalists started digging into Starmer's past decisions, looking for patterns of questionable judgment. Then came the bombshell. Reports emerged of Starmer's alleged decision to cede British overseas territories to nations with ties to China. This move, reportedly made without parliamentary approval or public consultation, sent shockwaves through the political establishment. Critics called it a betrayal of public trust and a threat to the UK's strategic interests. As the Labour Party scrambled to contain the damage, it became clear that Starmer's grip on leadership was weakening. Party membership numbers dropped, and calls for his resignation grew louder. The once promising leader now found himself fighting for political survival. While Starmer and his team worked to control the narrative, another force was gathering strength. A relentless investigator, known for exposing political scandals, was preparing to strike. The stage was set for a confrontation that would shake British politics to its core. In the world of political journalism, few names carry as much weight or strike as much fear as Isabel Oakeshott. As Starmer's troubles mounted, Oakeshott's relentless pursuit of the truth led her to an explosive discovery. With a prime-time TV slot secured, she prepared to reveal a secret that would shake the very foundations of the Labour Party. But at what cost? Oakeshott's reputation as a political bloodhound precedes her.
This is a guy who is leading our country, who is the representative of the United Kingdom.
You know, they are out of touch with how viewers and voters feel.
At the United Nations, you know, he's not the head of state, but he's, you know, the leader of the nation. He has lived a complete lie.
Her track record of uncovering high-profile scandals has made her both admired and feared in Westminster circles. Her confrontational style and ability to dig up dirt on politicians have become her trademark, earning her a devoted following among those disillusioned with mainstream politics. As Starmer's leadership began to falter, Oakeshott's interest in his past and current dealings intensified. She leveraged her extensive network of Westminster insiders, describing the scrutiny of Starmer as an open secret that mainstream media seemed reluctant to touch. Her methods, while controversial, have proven effective in exposing political misdeeds. Oakeshott's previous confrontations with politicians have often ignited public debate and scrutiny. Her sharp criticisms extend beyond policies to personal integrity, an approach that has both supporters and detractors. In Starmer's case, she accused him of failing to uphold his promises and misleading the public, particularly regarding economic policies. Her critique of Starmer's winter budget was particularly scathing. Oakeshott labelled it a death sentence for the elderly, arguing that it left vulnerable populations without adequate support during harsh winter months. This accusation resonated with many, fueling public discontent and raising questions about Starmer's commitment to Labour's traditional values.
I mean, I've said earlier today in the show, I don't know what he gets up to with Lord Ali.
Well, I'm not really surprised that Channel 4 couldn't get its head around the story because they don't have the right judgment.
I don't know what he does for hours and hours on end at this flat that they seem to be happy to
As Oakeshott delved deeper into Starmer's past, she began dropping hints about a major revelation. Her cryptic comments on social media and in interviews fueled speculation about what she might have uncovered. The political world held its breath, knowing that an Oakeshott exposé could potentially end careers. Then came the announcement that sent shockwaves through Westminster. Oakeshott had secured a primetime TV slot. The stage was set for what promised to be a career-defining moment for both Oakeshott and Starmer. As the nation tuned in, no one could have predicted the bombshell about to drop. The studio buzzed with anticipation as Isabel Oakeshott prepared for her live TV appearance. The air crackled with tension, camera operators and producers moving with purposeful urgency. As the red light blinked on, signaling they were live, Oakeshott's eyes gleamed with the intensity of someone about to unleash a political bombshell. "I think there is something bigger going on here," Oakeshott began, her voice steady but charged with anticipation. The studio audience leaned forward, captivated by her opening statement. She then launched into a methodical exposé of Keir Starmer's alleged deception, peeling back layers of what she called a complete lie. Oakeshott revealed that Starmer had been filming public messages from a penthouse that wasn't his own. She claimed this was more than just a minor oversight. It was a carefully crafted facade. "This is a guy who is leading our country, who is the representative of the United Kingdom at the United Nations," Oakeshott stated, her voice dripping with disdain. "He has lived a complete lie." As Oakeshott continued her revelation, she detailed how Starmer's messages to the public were staged to appear as if he was at home. In reality, she alleged, he was in a shared penthouse with Lord Ali. The studio guests exchanged shocked glances, the weight of this accusation settling heavily in the room.
That there is some big fact here that we're not being made.
I mean, I'm going to ask the question because nobody else will.
Here, and it's annoying because I don't know what it is. And I know that the lobby of political journalists at Westminster feel the same.
He insisted on going through with it, I think because he thought it would cause political mischief. His judgment now is in the toilet.
One of the most damning allegations came when Oakeshott claimed Starmer had misled the public about his living arrangements during lockdown. She asserted that he had filmed a tribute to the Queen from the penthouse, directly contradicting his public narrative. The implications of this deception were staggering, potentially undermining Starmer's entire leadership. Social media exploded within minutes of Oakeshott's revelations. Twitter and Facebook were flooded with reactions, ranging from disbelief to outrage. Political commentators scrambled to provide analysis, with one stating that this could be one of the most significant political failures in recent history. As the dust settled from Oakeshott's appearance, it was clear that the political landscape had shifted dramatically. The Labour Party was plunged into crisis, with calls for Starmer's resignation growing louder by the minute. A petition demanding his stepping down quickly surpassed 3 million signatures, a testament to the public's sense of betrayal and anger. The dust had barely settled, but the tremors from Oakeshott's revelations were already reshaping British politics. What began as a minor issue had snowballed into a full-blown crisis that threatened to tear the Labour Party apart from within. Just how deep did this rabbit hole go? Labour Party headquarters descended into chaos as news of Oakeshott's exposé spread like wildfire. Emergency meetings were hastily convened, with senior MPs describing the situation as a catastrophic moment for the party. The fallout was immediate and severe, with calls for Starmer's resignation growing louder by the minute. Starmer, visibly strained and overwhelmed, attempted to control the narrative. He issued a statement denying any wrongdoing, but his words rang hollow in the face of Oakeshott's damning evidence. The once promising leader now found himself fighting for political survival, his credibility in tatters. The public's anger was palpable. The petition demanding Starmer's resignation, which had already surpassed 3 million signatures, continued to grow at an alarming rate. Social media platforms were ablaze with calls for accountability, with many questioning how Starmer could continue to lead a party that had become synonymous with scandal and deceit.
Exactly what his secret is, but he sure as hell has got one or more secrets. There is some gigantic, super embarrassing favour that has been done, which we don't know about, but it feels to me as if there is some kind of, not necessarily scandal.
Key Labour figures began to distance themselves from their embattled leader. One insider, speaking on condition of anonymity, stated, "This has escalated from a minor concern to a full-blown crisis that could reshape UK politics." The opposition parties wasted no time in capitalising on Labour's misfortunes with calls for a snap election gaining traction. As if the current revelations weren't damaging enough, Oakeshott hinted that the Southport scandal might be just the tip of the iceberg. She suggested that even more devastating information could be forthcoming, further threatening Starmer's leadership and the Labour Party's credibility. The impact on Labour's polling numbers was swift and brutal. Public trust in the party plummeted, with many supporters beginning to doubt whether Starmer could weather this storm. The party's future, once bright, now teetered on the edge of disaster.
Whether there is something going on within the Starmer family, which, they're entitled to their privacy, I don't know what it would be. And they relate in some way to Lord Ali and to his family.
As the crisis deepened, the question on everyone's lips was, could Starmer survive? The coming days would prove crucial for both his leadership and the future of the Labour Party. Keir Starmer's political career lies in tatters, his credibility shattered by Isabel Oakeshott's explosive revelations. The Labour Party, once seen as a beacon of hope, now faces an uncertain future. The fallout from the Southport scandal has raised critical questions about political accountability and transparency, leaving many to wonder if Labour can recover from this blow. Oakeshott's relentless pursuit of the truth has sparked a national conversation about integrity in leadership. As public trust continues to erode, the political landscape in Britain seems poised for a seismic shift. The scandal's far-reaching consequences may reshape the country's political future in ways we can't yet foresee. This saga leaves us with a pressing question. In an era of investigative journalism and instant information, can any political leader truly maintain public trust? Or are we entering a new age of political scrutiny where every action and decision is subject to intense public examination?